morning, year 6. I have got such an exciting lesson planned for you today. We are going to be talking about angels. I hope that angel doesn't mind that it just fell off the table. We're going to be talking about angels. Now, your mom and dad might call each other angel. You might have a special angel. The Bible talks about angels, but what we are going to talk about... Important notice. What do you mean? Angles? Angles. Not angels. So I'm not teaching about angels? Ah, okay. Angles. Alright, sorry. Good morning, year 6. We are going to be talking about angles this morning. I don't understand how people can mess up the name. It's clearly spelt differently. You pronounce it differently. So I just don't see how you guys keep messing it up. Angles and angels are two totally different things. And today we are going to be talking about angles. I'll just add this here just in case one of you guys needs to see this. It's angles, not angels. Get it right, please. So now that we've got that out the way, what is an angle in actual fact? They exist all around us. We probably wouldn't be able to do anything of precision without them. And what they actually do is they create a certain space between two lines. Now, unlike other forms of measurement, where you have got a straight edge to measure something, an angle is totally different because it's measured in such a way that you cannot use a tool like this to measure it. For example, if I had to draw an angle here on the screen, what I need to do is draw two lines that meet at some point. And where they meet has a specific name. But how do you measure this angle? Do I take my ruler and do I place it at the edge here and measure and say that this angle is 5 centimeters? Do I put it closer here and measure it and discover that this angle is now 2 centimeters? It's very, very important to understand that when we're measuring angles, we need to use a specific tool. And the tool that we use is called a protractor. Now, how a protractor works is that there's a central spot right there where you see those two lines meet, and you see that it is in the shape of a semicircle going all the way around. Now, what happens on a protractor is there are what are called degrees. That's the unit of measurement for an angle. And you've got a scale that goes from 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 degrees. And then it carries on the other side, going 100, 110, 120, 130, 140. And the reason why you've got the scale of, on both sides, of 1, 10, 20, 30, 40 up to 90, as well as 180 going down to 90, is because an angle can open in two directions. It could open this way, or it could open that way. So depending on which way the lines open that you're trying to measure, your protractor should be able to measure it opening this way or opening this way. I'm trying to do everything in reverse for the camera. So we're going to go through some of the important vocabulary that you'll need to know when we are talking about angles in the lessons to come. The first two things that we need to look at are rays and angles. Now, a ray is simply a point AB. It's a straight line, and it goes on forever in a certain direction, just like any line would. Now, a ray becomes an angle when those two lines or those two rays intersect or meet at a common point. So here you can see this ray AB, and it just continues on right off the edge of the screen. However, an angle is formed when those two rays intersect or when they touch. So now, when line AB meets with line BC at this point here where B is marked, we have an angle forming between the line AB and the line BC. You cannot have an angle if these two lines never meet. We call point B here a vertex, and that is the point at which those two lines meet. Now you might have a vertex at the edge of a shape, at the corner of your desk, the corner of your laptop screen, the corner of your window, anywhere where two lines meet. And we're not talking about imaginary lines or lines that are drawn. We're talking about any edge of any three-dimensional shape object, any two-dimensional shape or object. There is an angle that is going to be formed there. The problem is we can't just say, please can you just move your pen and mark point B, if we do not know where point B is. And for that reason, there are certain ways that people use to label and mark angles, but in particular, we want to focus on the one way that is internationally used, the one that allows you to understand exactly where an angle is being used. So you could just say angle 1. You could have an angle drawn like that with 1 in there. You could have the angle labeled with a single letter, or we could have the angle labeled with the rays or the two lines that are meeting labeled. However, the one that we're going to focus on is this one here, and that is angle ABC. Basically, we're looking at this entire line that forms the angle ABC, and whenever we write an angle like this, it's important to know that the point at which those two lines meet, or the vertex, is always the middle letter, and normally it's got a little cap on the top of it, a little pointy hat to show that that is where the angle is. Because if you think about it, if you looked at this line here, and if I had to say what is the size of angle B, that could be confusing because you've got ABC, you've got ABD, and you've also got CBD. And if I just said what is angle B, I haven't been specific enough because B is just the vertex. Am I talking about angle, oops, wrong place, angle A, B, C? Is it going to be CBD? So when we write it in this way, it becomes very clear which lines and which angles we're talking about. ABC would be A, the point vertex being B, and then carrying on along C. So we're looking at that angle there. For CBD, we're looking at C, B, D, angle CBD, and so that would be that angle in the middle there. So this is something that you need to make note of in your notes. When we are marking or writing down the name of an angle, we give it the letter names according to the rays that are forming that angle. We make note that the middle letter is the vertex, and that middle letter gets this little cap on the top to show that it is indeed the vertex of that angle. It's also important to take note of today the types of angles and the names that we give to them. So there are 5 classifications in particular, and I'll start here with the smallest to the largest. So starting off here, we have the acute angle, and I like to think of this as something, very small, very, oh, it's so cute, that type of thing. A very small angle that is not 0 degrees, but from 1 degrees up to 89 degrees is what we can call an acute angle. The moment you go up to 90 degrees, that becomes a different type of angle, which is just down here, the 90-degree angle. We're looking at our acute angle. Acute angle, it's very small, it's very dainty. Anything, and you can see marked by the arrow here, it's on the inside of these two lines. It must not be mistaken with the reflex angle, which I'll show you about, talk about more at the end. So your acute angle is from 1 degree to 89 degrees. So it's not including the 0 degrees and not including the 90 degrees. Then you come to a right angle. A right angle is exactly 90 degrees. This makes a perfect corner. It's also known as a perpendicular angle. Perpendicular lines are where two straight lines meet at a 90-degree angle. You can see them all over your house. Anything that has got a square edge, 90 degrees, your doors of your house, your windows, your fridge, your TV screens, your iPhones, your laptop screens, anything that is perfectly square is known as a right angle or a perpendicular angle. The next one you need to know about is called an obtuse angle. An obtuse angle is something that is, I like to think of it as a little bit overweight, like obese. It's obtuse. It's not really a small dainty angle. It's not exactly a 90-degree angle. It's slightly more than 90 degrees. It's between 91 degrees and 179 degrees. So anything between those lines here on the inside, mind you, is what we call an obtuse angle. The moment that angle gets big enough to be 180 degrees, we call that a straight line. So any line, you just draw it with a ruler without having to even pick up a protractor to measure it. Straight line, straight away, you know that that is a 180-degree line. Then the last angle that we're going to look at for today is called a reflex angle. And this is an angle that is more than 180 degrees. So in other words, more than a straight line, but less than 360 degrees. That is a full circle. Now I want to point out the difference here between your reflex angle and your acute angle. For both of them, you could have exactly the same lines, and you could have an acute angle and a reflex angle. In actual fact, whenever two lines meet, two angles are formed. You've got the outside angle and you've got the inside angle. So it's very important to take note of, as you see here, as you see here, as you see here, where the angle is marked. Is it the inside angle or the outside angle? Because that's what helps you identify it. Now for this reflex angle, you can see that this line has started here and that ray has opened all the way around that point up to there. So we're looking at that outside angle, and that is what makes it reflex. If we were looking at the inside angle, that would be surely less than 90 degrees. That would be an acute angle. It is important to pay attention to which side of the angle you're being asked to identify, because that could actually change the entire outcome of your answer. So this lesson for today is really for you to get to understand these angles and to make some notes about them. There will be a couple of worksheets that I'll give you to just help you identify the angles that we've been talking about. When you're done with this, I'd like to see your notes. I'd like to see what you've thought of the lesson also in your notes. Please make sure that you add your important facts that are highlighted, that are underlined, that are made to stand out. And then when you're done, you can also take a picture of your notes as well as your worksheet. Remember to take that photo, paste it into a Word document, and then you're going to submit that for your assignment. All right, I look forward to seeing what you guys produce, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your numeracy lesson. Have a nice day.